Phillips. David Phillips.
Hello. It's good to see you all. I went on a backpacking trip a couple weeks ago with my bros, and I was like, before this trip, I'm in my early 30s. It's time for me to get my own equipment. So I went to REI and bought the backpack and the water bottle and the sleeping mat, and I flew across the country to Oregon to go camping. And when I was out in the wilderness, looking at the big lake and the mountains and the blue sky, I had this beautiful realization. And that was, I don't want to go camping anymore. I'm done. It's hard. So I get back to New York, and I take my stuff back to REI, because they have a free return policy. You can get your money back. You can return things. And so I get up to the cashier, and it's kind of a grumpy woman, and she looks at me, and I put the stuff on the counter and say, I'd like to return this. And she goes, is there anything wrong with it? And I say, no. And she's like, well, why are you returning it? And I said, I wanted it, and now I don't want it anymore. There was a time I wanted it, but that's long gone. So she's checking in my stuff, and she's like kind of giving me the stink eye. And in my head, I thought to myself, this is a classic example of someone hating the player when you should be hating the game, okay? Direct your anger to Daddy REI. So that's that. In the pandemic, I took up painting. Did anyone else have hobbies in the pandemic? Yeah, say thing. All right. So I took up painting in the pandemic. I started painting, and then I would post my paintings to the internet, and then they started selling, and it became this way of life for me. And I'm a painter. I'm a painter now. But I was a little insecure about it because I'm a late bloomer. I started painting at 28. But then I did some research, and I found out that a lot of painters are late bloomers. And my theory on it is you have to live a life that beats you up a little bit for the paintings to come out of you. And did you guys know one of our former US presidents is a late blooming painter? George W. Bush is a late blooming painter. So one could argue 9/11, Afghanistan, and Hurricane Katrina were all a part of his journey into becoming a painter. It's a part of his growth, people. It was God's plan. One could argue. You could make that argument. So my grandfather passed away a couple years ago, and it's really sad because not only did we lose the patriarch of my family, I lost a subscriber to my podcast. It's just really, really hard on me. It's really brutal. I have a girlfriend, one of those, and we were having sex the other night, and thank you, and I made her come, but I was having difficulty coming from the thrusting. So I was like, baby, can you give me some head? And so she gave me some head, but I still couldn't come. So I was like, baby, is it cool if I jerk off? And she was like, yeah, it's cool. So I was sitting there jerking off, and she goes, come for me. Come for me. And I go, I'm going to come for me, okay? I'm doing this for me right now. And I love jerking off in front of my partner because she gets to see what I'm the very best in the world at. No one can jerk me off better than me. I'm David Phillips. Thank you so much.